In this video we are going to talk about most dangerous prisoners in the world. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. The most dangerous criminals behind bars are those who have committed extremely serious offenses that have never been done before by anyone else. There are a few people in our world who have committed horrible atrocities, killed many people, chosen the worst and craziest course of their lives, and are the most dangerous prisoners in the world. These people are in prisons around the world. For the circumstances surrounding the punishment, prisons must be very frightening. On the other hand, the inmates themselves are even more terrifying than the crimes that they commit. Because of the terrible deeds they committed, some of the most dangerous prisoners in the world are currently behind bars. The world is a miserable place inhabited by a diverse collection of oddballs. These are the individuals who have committed heinous crimes and then gone on to murder a significant number of people before being apprehended by the legal system. Not only because of the harsh conditions in which convicts are held, but also because of the inmates themselves, prisons have earned a well-deserved reputation for being notoriously frightening places to be. The following are some of the most dangerous prisoners in recorded history. Number 10, Thomas Edward Silverstein. After being convicted of the murder of corrections officer Merle Klutz, Silverstein was sentenced to spend the remaining 36 years of his life in solitary confinement at the Marion Penitentiary in Illinois. Officials at the correctional facility described him as a cold-blooded murderer who had formerly commanded the Aryan Brotherhood prison group. According to Silverstein, the degrading conditions that exist within the correctional system were a contributing factor in the 3 murders that he committed. In the Range 13 section of the ADX Florence Federal Penitentiary in Colorado, the inmate was detained in a specially built cell. He was the inmate at the Bureau of Prisons who had been held in solitary confinement for the longest period of time at the time of his passing. Many of the prison guards refused to speak with Silverstein because they wanted to show their respect for Klutz. Number 9, Shashikala Ramesh Batankar, baby. One woman by the name of Shashikala Ramesh Batankar came to the conclusion that selling drugs was an easy way to make money. She had been working as a milkmaid, but she eventually gave up that job and joined the notorious drug trade in Mumbai. Due to the fact that she dealt drugs for almost 10 years, she amassed assets to the value of more than 100 crore rupees. 2015 was the year that finally saw baby Batankar being apprehended by the Mumbai police. Number 8, the Nithari Killers. In connection with one of the 16 murders that took place as part of the Nithari killings, serial killer Maninder Singh Pandar and his domestic worker Surinder Kohli were both given the death penalty in the previous year. The Nithari murders were solved after 8 child skeletons were found in a residential drain in the Nithari neighborhood of Noida. Nithari is located in Uttar Pradesh. Cannibalism, pedophilia, and rape have all been brought up as possible motives, in addition to the trafficking of organs. Number 7, Mary Mallon. She is also known as Typhoid Mary, and it is believed that she was responsible for the infection of 51 people, of whom 3 passed away as a direct result of their illnesses. Even though she was infected with a highly contagious germ that caused typhoid fever, Mary continued to work as a domestic helper and cook for other people. As a direct consequence of this, a great number of people became afflicted. A disease such as typhoid could only be treated with an incredible amount of ineffectiveness in medical facilities. Mallon is said to have known about her illness well in advance of infecting a large number of people, and as a result, she spent the last 23 years of her life locked away in complete isolation. Number 6, Dennis Rader aka BTK. BTK is an acronym that stands for Bind M, Torture M, Kill M, which was the alias that Dennis Rader used. In the annals of United States history, he will go down as one of the most heinous serial killers ever. He made it a point to have an elaborate photo session with every victim he tormented and hid the evidence away in a hidden cellar. When he first attacked the Otero family in 1974, the stories say that he didn't know how to murder, so instead he physically tortured them to death. They died from their injuries. After his initial brush with death, he went on to commit another 9 or 10 murders in total. In 2005, BTK was found guilty of each murder and given a sentence for each one. There is a disturbing video in which he admits to all of his heinous crimes, and this video was released in the year 2005. He is currently awaiting his execution while being held in solitary confinement in a prison. Number 5. Rodney Alcala. Alcala, also known as the dating game killer, took sick pleasure in photographing his victims, the majority of whom were lovely young women, after he had murdered them and posed their bodies in grotesque positions. The majority of Alcala's victims were attractive young women. At the very least, it is believed that approximately 130 women were killed as a direct result of his actions. It wasn't until 1980 that he was finally apprehended and given a death sentence. Number 4. John Wayne Gacy, a real-life Pennywise clown. You have probably heard of the John Wayne Gacy-inspired film IT, which was released in theaters in 2017 and is based on real events. Gacy began his career as a clown, performing for children and raising money for various charitable organizations. He was known by the alias Pogo the Clown. On the other hand, this brightly colored clown persona masked a cruel criminal who was hiding underneath. Gacy was a sexual predator and a torturer. He was found guilty of the murders of 33 young men and boys between the ages of 13 and 24 between January 1972 and late 1978. He was executed by injection of a lethal drug in the latter half of 1994. Number 3. Aileen Wuornos. This woman was so evil that she might as well have been a demon. Aileen Wuornos was a participant in the execution-style slayings of 7 men that took place between 1989 and 1990. She would make false allegations of rape against the men she dated, and then proceed to shoot them in the head. According to the reports, Wuornos was found guilty, sentenced to death, and ultimately put to death through the use of a lethal injection. Number 2. The Red Ripper. Chikatilo, also known as Andrei Romanovich, gained a notorious reputation as a serial killer in the Soviet Union. He was infamously known as the Red Ripper and the Butcher of Rostov, and he is suspected of raping and mutilating more than 52 women. According to various accounts, he is by far one of the most notorious prisoners in the history of the United States, having confessed to a staggering number of murders, 56, of which he was tried for 53 in 1992. Number 1. The Eyeball Man. Jason Barnum, also known as the Eyeball Guy, was given a sentence of 22 years in prison for the shooting of an Alaska police officer. The chronic heroin addiction that Barnum suffered from is said to have been the driving force behind his criminal behavior, as reported by The Independent. His face was covered in tattoos, which contributed to his intimidating overall appearance. Yes, one of Barnum's eyeballs was permanently inked on his body in the form of a tattoo. Barnum, in attempting to provide an explanation for his actions, shifted some of the blame to the Alaska Department of Corrections, claiming that when he was released from prison in 2010, he had nothing to do and nowhere to go. He explained, "I was living on the streets, and I tried to get a job, but of course, my beautiful face did not allow me to do that." Case in point. Judge Jack Smith of the Anchorage Superior Court stated that the responsibility lies with Barnum, regardless of whether the system failed, the drugs caused him to behave erratically, or anything else. However, he stated that the sentence this time includes parole and that it will most likely provide additional assistance when he is released and is in his mid-50s. Smith stated, "It's going to be difficult, but hopefully it'll be easier than it was the last time." Barnum has already completed the first 2 years of the sentence he received. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.